Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Human beings are called as social animals, meanings they believe in socialization, therefore social animals. And yet they continue to be animals. Who is an animal? Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunancha. These four things are common between human beings and animals. Ahara, eating. Nidra, sleeping. Bhaya, a sense of insecurity. And Maithunancha, the procreation. These things are common between human beings and animals. If our life is lived only on these four fronts, there is no reason why we should be called as human beings. And if we are called as animals, animals will go on strike. If a donkey has to abuse his child, what the donkey must be abusing? You, man, as we call somebody, you, donkey. So the donkey must be abusing like this, you, man. Because we are not doing anything extra that we can be called as human beings. So what is that which makes us human beings? Our life has got three aspects. First is, we live in this world in relation to others. Our independent existence is not possible. There are so many factors which go into our existence. And for that, there is one scheme of do's and don'ts that is called as the Dharma Shastra or the religious aspects of our life. What should be done, what should not be done, be good to others, do good to others, so that we can coexist happily. The second aspect is, this happy coexistence can be supported by proper thinking process. And that proper thinking process is mainly influenced by the logic. That logical approach to the proper behavior in the relative world is called as philosophy. So, religion tells us how do we conduct among ourselves. Philosophy tells us the reason behind it, why we should be good to others. See? But these two things are totally different from spirituality. In religion, there is no God. There are only do's and don'ts and rituals and rites. In philosophy, there is no wisdom. There is only frustration glorified in a poetic language is philosophy. See? Then, this God and the wisdom coexist in the spiritual life. So this law of karma, or the karma that we are talking about, is aimed at understanding the basic principles of life. Like what is the basic principle yesterday I told, I am sure you all must have got it firm. For everything there is a purpose, why certain things are done. See? Like here we have come for educating ourselves on certain principles. So here I am a teacher and you are the student. So I have a certain duty towards you. you have certain duty towards me. See, now if I talk about my rights, and if you talk about your rights, both of us are wrong. We are not right. Because when I talk about my right on you, now what authority I have on you? You may sleep here, I can't question, challenge it. I cannot. There is your freedom. Similarly, I can talk here going away from the topic. You can't say anything. It's my freedom. And thus all of us get lost in this world, only talking about our rights, forgetting our duties. Like a coin cannot have only one side. In the same manner, the rights cannot be spoken of without the reference of the duties. And therefore, this law of karma inaugurates a new front in our thinking process. Let our life be duty oriented and not right oriented. When I talk of my right on you, you will not come up to my expectations and I will be frustrated. If you talk about your right on me, I will not come up to your expectation, you will be frustrated. Because it is not in my hands or your hands. But when I talk of my duty is in my hands. So when I fulfill my duty, your rights are taken care of. When you fulfill your duty as a student, my right is taken care of. See, like the parents and the children. If the parents talk about their rights on the children and the children talk about their rights on the parent, both of them will be confused and frustrated. On the contrary, the parents recognize their duty, that it is my responsibility to take care of the children. And if the children understand it is my responsibility to take care of my parents when they are in need, there will be a mutual coexistence without any problem. This duty orientation is the foundation of karma yoga or the law of karma. Now see what happens. In the second chapter of Gita, this principle is brought out in the most popular mantra from Bhagavad Gita. And many of them, they know it 1/4 of it, but quote very loudly. You know, our Gita says, Karmanyevadhikaraste, but what is the remaining 3 portions, they do not know. So there are 4 aspects. Karmanyevadhikaraste, ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala heturubhuhu, ma te sangha astu akarmani. These 4 things put together is practicing the law of karma in our life. First, karmani evate adhikaraha. You have right to fulfill your duties. Do your job. Because we do our job by our hands are in our hands. Number 1. Number 2. When we do our duties, there are no regrets and guilts accumulated on our mind. In the old age, only 2 things torture every person. Only 2 things. Not the health, not the property, not the relations. They are all outside. 2 things which really torture a human being in the old age. Number 1, Kimahagam papam akaravam iti, Kimahagam sadhuna akaravam. In Taittiriya Upanishad, these 2 mantras come. When I was young, why did I go the wrong way? Well, whenever we do something wrong, we are more intensely involved. And second thing, why I did not follow the right path. In the old age, these two things torture a person. Therefore, it is said, do your duty and relax. No more guilt. See, one person met me somewhere and he said, Swamiji, please help me. I am unable to get out of the sins that I have collected in my life. I did not care for my elders. I was so arrogant. When they were in need, I have disrespected them. I ridiculed them. But now I am all by myself, and all those bad acts, they come and stand before me. And I am unable to sleep. What do I do? See, friends. Therefore, principle number 1, we live in the present. Number 2, we can do our duties by ourselves, independent of others. Number 3, we do all the duties or karma only in the present. Number 4, if we are doing everything happily, we will never be miserable in life. Mahaphaleshu kadachana, the second principle. What we do something so that I will become happy in the future. Nobody ever has become happy in the future because future never comes. What is only the present. See, it is something like this. I am talking to you, and if I imagine that after my talk is over, you will all give me a standing ovation, and then you will say, Swamiji, you are awesome, and then I will become happy. So what I have done? I have postponed my happiness in the future period of time. And you will not say that, because I did not say very good things. What is the net result? While talking, I have not discovered happiness. In the future, you will not say, I will not get happiness. So what is my life? Only a labor and a struggle in search of happiness. Therefore, the principle is, don't do anything in life to get happiness. But this is what we do. Why a young, healthy man with no problems of any kind wants to get married? See? I was in London in a retreat. So one person asked me, excuse me, Swami, you Indian Swamis, why don't you get married? So before I could reply, he said, after all, happiness is not everything in life. That day I discovered in this world there are two types of people. Those who are married and those who are happy. So this young man, he wants to get married. For what? For getting happiness. Has any person after marriage become happy? Because his idea is, after I get married, I will be happy. And then, first the slogan was, what a life without a wife. Now the slogan is, what a life because of the wife. And then, I want to separate. Separation for what? For getting happiness. So I got married for getting happiness. I get divorced for getting happiness. In both the cases, I do not discover happiness. Then I give it a second try. See? First marriage is imagination over reality. Second marriage is hope over experience. Third marriage is practice. We don't learn. So instead of doing anything in life to get happiness, discover this principle. Whatever you do, that must be an expression of joy. You have learned the secret of karma. Don't go in the future. Remain in the present, totally, fully. See, friends. Now the third principle is Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Karma phala hetu means do not become the cause of, the owner of the result of your karma. See? I'll tell you one story. One sculptor, he was very expert in doing the things. So he got the premonition that he is going to die. And he didn't want to die. So what he did, he made about half a dozen statues exactly like him. And he sat in between. And messengers of death came to pick him up. And they got confused. Who is this? Who is this? Whether it is he or they can't take a chance. If this is not, we can drop and take. No, they got only one click. It is not for two. So they were confused. And when they are confused, they went to the Lord Death. Sir, it's a very peculiar case. 6 of them look so alike. Which is the one we are unable to understand. So the Lord Death said, you are dumb fellows, come, I'll tell you. And the Lord Death himself came. And he was saying that, oh, what a great sculptor he was. I feel bad to pick him up and take him to the hell, but that is my duty. Anyway, he was really great. But out of the 6, this one particular statue has one defect. The moment this is said, this statue has a defect, the original sculptor said, what defect? Catch him. See, Mahakarma phala heturuhu. Do not claim the ownership of what you do. There was a great saint in Bombay. You might have heard his name. His name was Nisargadatta Maharaj. One of the most wonderful saint ever born. He was absolutely illiterate. Never studied scriptures, no nothing. Yet abiding in the absolute. So he used to give this technique. He used to say, don't use an active voice when you talk in this world. What is an active voice and what is a passive voice? Active voice is, I eat a mango. In this, I is important. Mango is secondary. Now what is the passive voice? The mango is eaten. Doesn't matter who has eaten it. The mango is important, not the one who is eating. Passive voice. In the same manner, practice passive voice in your life. The job is done. Normally what we say, I have done this thing, I did this thing, I, to such an extent that we open an account in the ICICI bank. See, there is a bank in India called as ICICI. And you know the meaning of this ICICI? IC means identity crisis. First IC. Second IC is I am confused. Such I is the one who claims, I have done this thing, I have done this thing. So, ma karma phala heturvu. Therefore, when it is said in the Upanishad, na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyage naike amritatva manashu. Not through karma the truth is revealed, but by renunciation of the karma. Renunciation of the karma does not mean that we become lazy, indolent. No. Give up the sense of doership associated with action. Ma karma phala heturvu. And the fourth principle is ma te sanghastu akarmani. Never retire in life. Keep active till the last moment of your life. My teacher was telling me once, young man, I will be happy to get a news that my disciple collapsed while delivering the talk. See? A warrior is fulfilled in his life when his shoes are tied, the belt is fixed, and the gun in the hand, and on the battlefield he dies. That is the fulfillment of a warrior. In the same manner, let us not retire in life. Keep occupied, keep busy. Ma te sangastu akarmani. Example I'll give about it. I have a good friend, and he retired from his work. He was working in some company in Bombay. On the last day, there was a dinner in his house. So I was invited, I went. Then he said, Swamiji, today I am retired, so from tomorrow I want to join with you. I'll come to your ashram and do anything you tell me. Cleaning the ashram, cleaning the toilet, washing the clothes, anything I'll do. I said, to protect myself from people like you, I have no ashram. See? Because you will come to the ashram and tell, Swamiji, I am in the bathroom and there is no water, so I go with the bucket to give you. I said, I am not going to be chowkidar. Forget about it. Then what do? I said, okay, that's a good question. First, you work in your own field of specialization. Don't change that. Till date, you are working for yourself. Now learn to do the same work, not for yourself. But will I get a job? I say, that is my job. You don't worry about it. You apply wherever you know, and you will get a job within a month or so. Within 15 days, he got a job in Dubai. And he went, and he wrote me an email. Hamid, as you said, I got the job. Now, I am on my toes. What next? I said, okay, how much you are earning? So he told me something. I grant you 50% of the salary as your maintenance allowance. And 50% of the amount that you have, spend it on something which you love and honor, such as education of the children, etc. Don't give me. I don't want your money. And he started doing it. Within a period of 1 year or so, as if, a bud opened up into a beautiful flower with color, shape and fragrance. And today he is the head of the Senior Citizen Forum in India. He has brought out beautiful magazine, and he has made the senior citizens respectful in their own house, creative. Normally old people means what? They are a problem for everybody around. Instead of we old remaining as a problem to the youngsters, keep yourself occupied. But the idea is, this occupation or whatever we are doing, it is our need. Nobody needs us. See, friends, when these 4 principles are practiced, then the net result is we learn the art of deleting MrI.com. This I has to be deleted. And if we are deleting the I, what happens? We start expanding. See? Now let us understand the principle of expansion. I move around the world and sometimes something happens because body is there. As long as something happens to you, it is a good sign that you are still alive. If nothing happens to you, then that means you are dead. So if there is a pain here, pain there, you must congratulate, come on, I am still alive, good. Rather than complaining about it. So I had some throat problem or something like that. So my friend told me, he was a homeopathy practitioner. Practitioner means looking into the book and asking the question and giving the sabudana khichdi. Homeopathy is nothing but that only, sabudana khichdi. So he gave me one dose and said, Swamiji, this is a high potency dose I gave you. Next dose will be given after 6 months. I said, my God, high potency, am I going to get burst out or what? He said, no. I said, explain me what is high potency. Then he told, take one part of the medicine, dilute it 100 times. From that diluted solution, take one part, dilute it 1000 times. From that dilution, take one part, dilute it 10,000 times. From that, take one part, dilute it 100,000 times. So more the dilution, higher is the potency. And further he said that the dilution goes to such an extent, no chemical process can establish whether the medicine is there or not. But it is there. I said, that medicine, how it will help? He said that medicine is broken at an atomic level. It doesn't work outside. It works straight away at the nuclear level. And therefore, it is very effective. Therefore, it is very potent. And it gave me a beautiful joy in understanding this. Be attentive. I concentrated ego. Then I gets married, and I and my wife, ego is halved. See? So earlier I was a point. Now wife is equal to 1 unit of radius, imagine. So center I, my wife, radius, a circle is drawn. Then by God's grace, the first calendar comes out. First child is born. Then the first child is another addition to the value of the radius. So 2 units of radius. The second circle is born. Then the second child is born. That is added to the radius. The third circle. As you keep on increasing the value of the radius, one additional circle is formed. Be attentive. When you keep on adding circles around the center, is it a burden for the center? No. Be attentive. The I, which was concentrated in the center, is now slowly spreading. I and my wife. I, my wife and first child. I, my wife and second child. I, my wife, the first 2 children and the third child. Slowly this I is slowly expanding. Now imagine, we include in our heart not only the relations, parents, the people around us, friends, our village, our country, the whole earth, all the living beings, the total cosmos. The value of the radius will increase from 0 to infinite. And when the value of the radius increases to infinite, you will be a center without a circumference. That center which doesn't have the circumference is called as living in God. See, friends. Thus, when we include everything and being, nothing is rejected. Be attentive. Our expansion is nothing but an expression of pure love. And whenever we have pure love, in love we rise. We don't fall. See, there are 2 types of loves we all know. A boy loves a girl or a girl loves a boy, and what they say, one young, boy and girl came to me and said, Swamiji, please bless us. I said, what great you have done. Swamiji, we have fallen in love. I said, please get up. Where did you get hurt? Because you have fallen in love. When you fall, you get hurt, is it not? And that is what happens. Then rise in love, don't fall in love. Be attentive. Boy and a girl, for them, love is an action. I love you. Here, love is a verb. But the same word love is a noun when the mother has love for the child. See, the mother does not use the word love as a verb. It is an expansion of her eye because she sees herself extended in the child. See, friends. Therefore, real karma yoga is do not live only for yourself. And as we start expanding, you can never have that arrogance of success and the guilt of failure. See? Then only the reality expresses through us. Then our life is like, like the lamb. Whether there are 100 people or there are 500 people or there is nobody, it makes no difference to the lamb. We remain only the illuminator of every experience without getting influenced by any experience. In this manner, when we lead our life, then the net result is our mind becomes purer and purer. Because what is a pure mind? Pure mind is that which is not under the influence of likes and dislikes. Whatever we do in our life, we do because I like or I don't like. See, this example I give a number of places. I went to somebody's house, a young couple married for 2-3 years, and when I entered I saw around and all the walls were not painted, they were looking very ugly and all that. I saw that, I said anyway, I had to take a cup of tea and go, why worry? So I was reading the newspaper. Then that girl came and she said, Swamiji, I have seen what you have seen. I said, anyway, it doesn't matter. Then both of them were sitting. Swamiji, do you know why we did not paint our house? I said, I have no problem and I don't want to know. This is your house, why should I worry? After a cup of tea, I forget about you. No, we want to tell you. I said, then I had to take that as it comes. How can I run away? Because I had to take tea. So, he said, Swamiji, when we got married, we have decided. We will do only that or not do that when both of us agree common. Not only one person telling, other listening, no. Because that is our love. Both of us must agree. Oh, I said, great. Very rare combination. Then what happened, I like light pink. He likes light cream. I don't like light cream and he doesn't like light pink. And therefore we could not decide what color to give. And therefore we are not painting. I said, oh, this is your problem. I can solve your problem in exchange of a cup of tea, free. How? I said, okay, listen. Why don't you paint your house from inside coal tar, dark black? Swamiji, I said, let me ask you for questions. Girl, you tell. Do you like it? No way. Very good. Boy, you tell. No way, he said. I said, see, both of you agree. No, give Be very attentive. I like pink or I don't like pink. I like cream color, I don't like cream color. What is the logic behind it? You tell me. Is there any logic? Think. And what is our life? Our life is guided by the personal likes and dislikes, which has no foundation of reason. And we claim ourselves to be intellectuals. See, friends, yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. The karma is done not for gaining anything in this world outside. The karma is done to rise above these clutches of personal prejudice, likes and dislikes. Rise above that. See, friends. But what is prosperity in today's world? Prosperity is more the choice we have, more prosperous we are. I went to somebody's house for food in Washington DC, and there was a child in that house. So beautiful food, everything. And there were about 4 or 5 types of ice creams kept. And there was one particular type of ice cream, what he wants, that was not there. It was enough for him to become upset. Why that particular ice cream is not there? Because I want that only, nothing else. And therefore, more the choice we give to ourselves, more miserable we are. Lesser the choice we give to ourselves, less miserable we are. Don't give yourself any choice. Accept the things as they come. You will be free from the prejudice of likes and dislikes. It is for this purpose the karma is done. Rise above. I don't like this alley. Who asked? See, friends. Therefore, karma yoga is working on the mind. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita says, when we do something, yes, sometime we will win, sometime we will be defeated. Samo bhutva, remain equanimous. The most important, valuable commodity in the whole universe is our mind. If we can mind our mind, we have learned all the spiritual practice. It is for this purpose karma yoga is practiced. Not for discussing why some people are born with their defects, why some people are born this way. Why you worry? Has anybody asked you appointed? You are hereby appointed as the general manager of the whole universe. You are not created. Relax. If you can do something, do. See, friends. But we waste our time because we are not self-oriented. And why we are not self-oriented? Be attentive. There is one lady. Now, I don't know where is she. Sometimes she used to come when I was in Bombay to my place and, clean my room. I don't have any servant. So whenever I am there for a week, she will come and clean the whole room, everything. My table, working table is the most disorganized one. So many wires, so many gadgets and all that, And I can find out whatever I want out of that. So she will come and immediately, like a magic wand, she will organize everything perfectly well. Then I ask her, I said, Mama, what magic you have got in your hand when you come to my house? You make everything so beautiful in 2 minutes. What is the secret? She says, Swamiji, I have also one question. What is that? What is the magic in your hand? In 2 seconds, you make everything again the same. And then she asked me this question, Swamiji, I go and help people. Yes. Is it my good spiritual practice? I said, no. No, I said, yes. You ask me, and now listen. How come? I said, you are running away from yourself. You are not ready. and capable to face your own mind. Friends, expose yourself or your mind in silence. Facing the enemy outside is very easy. To face the enemies and fight the battle was the profession of Arjuna. But to face our nears and dears as enemy is a big challenge. And what is the near and dear for us? Not the relations and possessions. The near and dear for us is our own mind. See, friends, those who are at peace with themselves, they alone are at peace with the whole world. Those who are at war with themselves, they cannot be at peace with the world. So Karma Yoga is working on the mind. Before we take up anything, see the quality of mind. When the whole job was done, keep an eye on the quality of the mind. When the job is done, again, see, is the quality destroyed or not? If this is consciously practiced, then we are understanding the law of karma. It is not meant for getting lost in logic. It is not meant for getting lost in cause and effect. Cause and effect is an illusion. It is not the reality. Yesterday somebody asked me this question, but in our scriptures, they talk about prarabdha, and because of the prarabdha we get good and bad. So I said, read Vivek Chudamani towards the end, somewhere in 463 verse or so, it is said, the foolish question of the prarabdha is answered by a stupid answer. It is not the truth. See, friends, then why this topic of earlier life, this life, next life, going to hell and heaven is brought out? Now be attentive, the purpose. When we are told that all the good and the bad that we have in this life is because of our good and bad karma in the last life. Now if we do something good and bad in this life, that will be writing our blueprint for the next life. This is what the law of karma prarabdha tells, is it not? Now tell me, what we have understood? What is the moral of the story? See, I'll tell you two stories to understand the moral of the story. In Bhagavad Mahapuran, so many stories come. One is this. There was a king, Rishabdev, to whom is attributed Jainism. Rishabdev, he was a king ruling the world for 10,000 years, and after 10,000 years of ruling the world, he handed over his kingdom to his eldest son, Bharat, after whom India is named as Bharat. And then he went to the forest and did tapasya and merged in the Lord. This is the story. So what is the moral of the story for us? Oh, it's a cock and bull story. Who can rule for 10,000 years? That is not the story, man. The meaning, the moral of the story is, even if you are a king ruling the whole world, not for 2 terms of a president, but you are ruling the world for 10,000 years, and yet you cannot discover fulfillment in your life. That is the meaning. And then he renounced everything and merged in his own self. This is the moral of the story. Don't search for happiness through action, but express happiness through action. That is Karma Yoga. See, friends. Now the second story. The second story comes in Mahabharata. I don't know if I told you. There is one story about Savitri and Satyavan. You all know that. Did I tell you the story? No. Savitri was a great devoted wife, a rare species. She was a great devoted wife to her husband. And her husband died. So she was not happy. So she fought with the Lord Death and brought her husband back to life. So normal understanding is what? See, she was loving her husband so much that he was brought back from death. But for a person like me, what is the moral of the story? For me, the moral of the story is, you can be saved from the clutches of death, but you cannot be saved from the binding of the wife. Moral of the story. See, in the same manner. What is the moral of this story? That we lived earlier in the last life, did good and bad things, and therefore we have this problem in this life. So if you do good and bad, you will have to suffer in the next life. But the sufferings will not be done by this body, because good and bad actions were done by us, not by this body, in another body. See. Therefore, what we have understood? Before this body was there, I was existing. In this body, I is existing. When this body is dropped, this I continues to exist. Therefore, who is this I? Is he ever born? Will he ever die? I is a continuous, unbroken, conscious existence. Where is a place for the soul to make a curry out of it? You know, in Goa, there is a dish called a soul curry. They are very spiritual people. But it's very tasty. Next time you happen to go to Goa, ask for soul curry. So, the purpose of the Karma Yoga is not to talk about sin and merit, send us to hell and heaven, talk about the birth and rebirth. That is not the purpose. The moral of the story is this. The moral of the story is, we existed before this body was born. We are in this body. When this body is dropped, we continue to exist. So when we are born and when we have died, it is the body which is born and which dies. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra namuyati. Like the childhood body, it is dropped by us. Then the teenage body came, that we discarded. Then the middle age body came, that we discarded. The old age body came, we have to discard. So when we have discarded half dozen type of different bodies, we continue to exist. On what ground we say that when this body is discarded, we will die? Understand this principle. It is for this purpose the law of karma is spoken. Not to send us to hell and heaven. See, friends, now be attentive. The other day my friend brought me from New Jersey to Papa's place. And when I was with him, he is staying in an apartment, one bedroom. And he has just minimum things in a house. Minimum. One sofa set, one TV, because the child is to be kept busy, so all cartoons are put, he is busy. And whatever is inherited in that, apartment, the washing machine or whatever it is there, that's all. Hardly anything extra he has in his house. The reason is, both of them have decided, next year in the month of May, they are packing up and going. They are not interested to stay in this country. . And he has a very simple thing. He says, Swamiji, I am the only son of my parents. They are not going to come here. So I can't imagine to leave them at their fate. They have done everything for me. For me, they are more important than my life. Therefore, me and my wife both have decided to go back. And the credit goes to my wife because she is cooperating without complaints. Now, when they know that they are leaving this country and going on their own, they are happily going. But if somebody has to go because the visa is expiring and visa is not getting extended and he is pushed out, he will go miserably, is it not? In the same manner, prepare yourself to leave this world on your own choice. So they are counting. Swamiji, now this is month of July, August, September, October, November, December, and another 10 months we are here. And so happily. Because they don't want to stay here. In the same manner, our body, it has got this disease, that disease. Throw it away. No. I want to hold on to this. Ram. Then what will happen? We will get a fresh one. See? But like in our house, we keep on accumulating the clothes. So many clothes that the whole township can be clothed by those clothes. And yet we don't want to throw them away. Kaam aayega after death. How long we keep on accumulating the things? Therefore the law of karma tells us, you cannot die. You are immortal. See, friends, how many times we have changed the bodies. For example, suppose I am 70 years of age. According to medical science, they say, I do not know the authenticity of this statement. Every 7 years, all the cells of the body are changed. So, how many bodies I must have changed? 10 bodies. But do I have that experience? I have changed the 10 bodies. The continuities of the bodies is an illusion. It is not real. Earlier, I used to eat so much and I could digest. But now, digestion has gone. Because the body has changed. But do I have that experience that the body has changed? The continuity of the bodies is an illusion. It is not the reality. But the one who is living in and through all the bodies, that is the reality. See, friends, therefore the law of karma has this purpose. See, it is necessary that we go to KG1 and learn there. 1, 2. Plus 1, 2. 1, 2. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks beautiful when a small child does this thing. But somebody is in MSc final. And he does, oh no, are you dumb or what? See, friends, because we have not understood the purpose. One example will make it clear. How we don't understand the purpose. From this KG's school, I remember one. One day the teacher went to her class and she wanted to teach the kids the summation. So the children are interested only in playing and fun, not in learning. So what she did, she carried a ball of chocolates. And when the children saw, today we are going to get chocolate, they are so happy. And then the teacher started teaching. She took one chocolate. She said, now come on, repeat after me. This is one chocolate. The children repeated. This is one chocolate. Then she took the second chocolate. She said, this is one chocolate. The children said, this is one chocolate. See, the emphasis has changed. The teacher was emphasizing on one. The children were emphasizing on chocolate. What is important for them is not 1 plus 1. For them, important is chocolate plus chocolate. In the same manner, we are not interested to know the truth. And therefore, all other things become very important for us. This Karma Yoga tells us, be self-oriented. How many people have come and gone? Nobody even traced. We all know our parents. Some of us know grandparents. Very few may know great-grandparents from the 4th generation above. Have we ever thought once about them? The same is going to be our story. But we imagine, I am going to be remembered in this world by the whole world. When we don't remember others, who remember us? We are in this world only for this purpose. Come to discover yourself. See? And when we discover ourselves, then this identity crisis will disappear. Our identity crisis is whether I am the secondary self, Gaunatma, husband, mother, father, brother, sister, that I am, or I am the body, I am the prana, I am the mind, or I am absolute reality. This discrimination between the three I's, to bring it to our cognition, is this path of karma or the karma yoga. Don't get too much carried away by the papa, punya, the merit and the sin, going to hell and heaven. That is for KG1, KG2. See, one person asked me this question. Somewhere in USA only, I was in a mall, somebody dropped me for something. He said, Sanjay, I'll come within an hour. I said, okay. So I was moving around and sat somewhere. So one person came, maybe some brother or pastor or somebody. He came and he asked me, excuse me, are you Hindu? I said, yes. Any objection? He said, no. Do you believe in Jesus? I said, no. I believe in Lord Jesus. He is not your pal to call him Jesus. Okay, Lord, yes. Then you are a Christian? I said, yes, I am a Christian. But you said you are a Hindu? I said, yes, I am a Hindu. How come? 2. I said, latest technology, 2 in 1. So when I said 2 in 1, he got angry. He said, if you say like that, he will go to hell. Then I asked, excuse me, where will you go? He said, of course I am going to go to heaven. I said, if you are in the heaven, I will prefer hell. To whom are you frightening? Nobody has seen hell or heaven. What is reality is what you have experienced. Have we experienced our birth? Somebody tells, you are born in such and such date. See? Once I happened to go to a maternity ward for some reason, and that lady's husband, he was not allowed by the nurse because some kind of exchange of words. So she said, if you step in, I'll call police. So he phoned me, Swamiji, there is something problem, you please come and help me. So I went there, night 2 o'clock. And then he said, this is the thing, what I should do. I said, okay, I'll talk to the nurse. I went and talked to her. And I could talk to her in her language. So she said, I'll allow you to come and see the baby, not that man. I said, look here, that is his baby. I have no interest. Why should I see? He said, no, then no, nothing. Then my friend said, okay, sorry, you go. And at least see, tell me what happened. So I went and through that terrible, all the rooms. And then I said, that lady, that is his wife, So she went and saw the tag. And she came to those cradles, and that tag number, this is the baby. That was the first time I have seen a newly born baby, hardly a few hours, looking like a squirrel. The newly born baby of a donkey is more beautiful than that of a human being. Very See? And I said, very good, thank you very much. I said, now Mama, I'll ask you some question, not out of argument, but just to educate myself. because I will never get this chance to come again here. I said, when this child was born? So she told some time. I said, no, I am not arguing, okay, for my general knowledge. Okay. I said, so many mothers are giving the birth and you are the one. So are you watching who is coming, when from coming? How do you decide who is born when? Exactly, to the second. He said, you are very intelligent, I will tell you the truth. If we tell somebody is born at 9 o'clock, nobody believes us. So we tell 8:55. That is true. The child which is born doesn't know. The mother who delivers, she doesn't know. And the nurse has got so many things to do. So she gives some random abnormal figure, round figure, nobody is born in this world, tell me. You find out your time of birth. 3:28. Is it a time to be born? Why don't you get birth on a round figure? So we have no experience of our birth and yet we claim that I am born. See friends, come to recognize this principle. Therefore, we neither have the experience of birth, it is the body that is born, not we. See, energy is not created. Energy is not destroyed. Energy can be transformed. Consciousness as the energy is transformed into mind as the energy. Like electrical energy is transformed into light energy through the bulb. So when the bulb becomes fused, this light energy is not destroyed. It remains in the same manner. Consciousness expressing through the body as mind is also an energy. This energy gets transformed. When this mind flows out of the eyes, that energy is called as the vision. The same mind flows out of the ears, it is called as the hearing ability. It is the same mind coming out of the nose, it is called as the poking ability. We poke our nose everywhere. Poke ability. See, come to discover this. It is for this purpose the Karma Yoga is told. That we are that unbroken, infinite, conscious, blissful existence. See, Mayi eva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishtitam, Mayi sarvam layam yati, Tad brahma dvayam. Everything is born in me. Everything is maintained in me. Everything goes back in me. See? If I is not there, my wife cannot exist. If I is not there, my property cannot exist. If I is not there, my country cannot exist. Everything supported by this I. Alas, this I we have doubt. Which I? See? And the same principle comes in the religion. God is one. But which one? Our God is the real one, not your God. It is something like this. Once I went to somebody's house and they say, Swamiji, these days we are having a lot of fight among ourselves. Please help us. I say, see, when I came for your marriage, I still remember what I told you. Tell me what I told you. Swamiji, you told us, now you are married, you are one. I said, when you still remember that, why do you fight? You are one. Swamiji, that is creating problem. Why? Which one? Whether me or he? See, friends, come to discover this the one. It is expressing through everything. It is for this purpose, Karma Yoga is for the purification of the mind. And when we come to discover that the embodied one existed before the body was born, embodied one is existing in this body, embodied one continues to exist after the body dies, then the question will come in our mind. Then who is this embodied one? Electrical energy, bulb, light and the object. Where is our attention? Our attention is on the objects illumined by the light. Leave the objects, go to the source of light. You will come to the light. Leave the light, go to the filament where the light is manifest. Leave the filament, go to the electrical energy. It is expressing as the light. This journey from the illumined to that because of which illumination is possible, this journey is called as spiritual life. This journey is not in time. It is not in space. In this journey, you gain nothing. You lose everything. And don't we do the same thing? In deep sleep, what happens? We lose everything. Tatra mata amata bhavati. Tatra pita apita bhavati. In deep sleep, we are neither mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife. Everything is discarded. We are nobody. We have nothing. And therefore we are happy. Come to discover this. It is for this purpose the law of karma is spoken of. It is not meant for sin, married, going to hell, going to heaven, this life, why some people are born in abnormal conditions, why some are born in the rich houses and all that. That is KG1, KG2, KG3. We are quintals now. We are not KGs. Let us rise above and come to discover the truth that we are. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.